Join me in a word of prayer. Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. We got to be honest with each other this morning. Those first disciples had a decision to make. And there was only two options. And let's be honest again, there was a cost and a benefit to both of those options. There always is. The benefit of staying on the shore, which is one of the options, the other option is to get in the boat. The benefit of staying on the shore is that it's the familiar, safe, practical, prudent place to be. Can't you just think of the disciples saying, wait a minute, it's night. The storms are worse at night. Let's wait till morning. We can minimize our risk. Everybody needs a good night's sleep. The cost of staying on the shore is that's not where Jesus was. He was in the boat. And he was calling them and inviting them to come, and saying no to Jesus ought never to be a habit. The benefit of being in the boat is being with Jesus, answering the call, building the kingdom. It would be one of the greatest boat rides any person had ever had. The cost of the boat ride was fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of the dark. Fear of the bad storms. Fear about going to places they've never been, to people they've never met. These people were afraid. And I don't know about you folks, but for me, fear paralyzes people. And until trust is greater than fear, the one step from that pier into that boat is like jumping out of an airplane. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning the Lutheran Church of the Resurrection begins its annual fall stewardship campaign. And we, like those first leaders, have a decision to make. And there's only two possible choices. Standing on the shore is the prudent, careful, wise, safe thing to do. I mean, we can keep muddling about, no risk of change, no worry about fear. Let's just go on being the same old church. We can, that way, minimize our risk of fear and reduce the concern for change. How's that sound? The problem is Jesus isn't on the shore. He's in the boat. And he's calling all of us to join him. And let me tell you exactly what I believe that means. For next year and the ministries we support, it means we cannot reduce current ministries any more than they are now. To go backwards, not to do the current ministries we have, is something a vital church like this should never consider. Secondly, we need to increase our giving to finally have a balanced budget. Not to do that and continue to rely on reserved giving and the staff and the lay leaders' prudent spending is the wrong direction. And thirdly, we need to increase our ministries beyond where they are now. And I'm standing here before you to tell you the only way that we can do that, I believe, is to call a second pastor. And I want you all to know that on Tuesday, October the 8th, I will be in the gathering room. And if any of you have any questions, comments, concerns, hopes, dreams about how much that person will cost, why that person is necessary, the benefit that that person will give to this congregation, I would be happy to have any of you there for that conversation. A second pastor can bring us increased ministries to meet the needs of increased people. And that, in my judgment, folks, is the only way this congregation is going to grow past where it is. 3 things. Continue ongoing ministries. Balance the budget. Increase ministries by increasing staff. Those are what this stewardship campaign is all about. And in order for us to accomplish that, you just heard it, it will require all of us to give 1% more of our annual income than we are now. Can we be honest again? Those first disciples who went into that boat were afraid. And as I go around this congregation, I think we are too. Some of us look at the gridlock in Washington and are afraid that we can't trust our elected leaders. And to be quite frank with you, some of them aren't trustworthy. Some of us are afraid economically. Because you know as well as I do, there are jobs still being lost and bills still going unpaid and IRAs still being sucked dry. Some of us are afraid of wars and rumors of wars, and we think with great consternation about Syria and North Korea and Libya and Afghanistan, and when's it all going to end? Some of us are afraid of change. We see the world spinning all around, and if there's one thing that we want to remain the same, it's the church, this church. There are a great many reasons to be afraid. To that fear, the gospel speaks a word of hope. Hope that Jesus is still in the boat, this boat. Hope that Jesus is still stilling storms in the present and will still the storms that we will encounter in the future. One member of this congregation sent me a definition of hope last week that read, listen to this, hope is putting faith to work when doubting would be easier. May I tell you what Fred Buechner says about hope? Hope that in spite of all the devastating evidence to the contrary, the ground on which we stand is holy ground because Christ walked here once and walks here still. Hope that we are known, each of us, by name, and that out of the burning moments of our lives, He will call us by our names to the lives He would have us live and the selves He would have us become. Hope that into the secret pain and grief and fear of each of us and of our world, He will come at last to save and to heal. Ladies and gentlemen of the Church of the Lutheran Church of the Resurrection, it's time. It's time to decide. We're going to stand on the shore. We're going to get into the boat. And if there are enough of us who have the courage and the faith and the commitment to get in the boat, it's then that the Lutheran Church of the Resurrection will remain a vibrant witness to the gospel of Jesus Christ in this community. Because the only way to lose is to stay on the shore. Because our source of hope, of grace, of love isn't on the shore. He's in the boat. And His words finally to us are these. Do not be afraid. I will go with you. You and I together, nothing can stop. You know why? Because even the wind and the sea obey me.